end of the day, it's just what happens at the end of the night. I'm not in there to try and knock Jake out in 10 seconds or 8 rounds. I'm going to go in there and do a job. I'm going to want to hurt him. You know, I'm going to want to really hurt him in the ring. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm here to do.
There are levels to boxing, and if these small guys are able to show you things that you had no idea that you were vulnerable to in a boxing ring, what happens when someone who hits 4, 5, 6 times as hard as that does the exact same thing to you and lands it on your chin?
Anthony Joshua reacted strongly to Jake Paul's newly released training footage, saying the young YouTuber turned boxer has crossed the line from confidence into pure overconfidence. Joshua explained that Jake's belief in himself has grown so large that he genuinely thinks challenging a seasoned heavyweight champion makes sense. To Joshua, the fact that Jake feels ready to face him shows a huge disconnect from the reality of elite, world-level boxing. Joshua emphasized that experience, danger, and technical levels at heavyweight are far beyond what Jake has ever encountered, making his confidence appear more delusion than readiness.
You pride Jake Paul of having that maybe you haven't seen in other competition you faced so far?
From a physical aspect, I couldn't even mention it at the minute. But from a mental aspect, he offered me the fight. Normally, I'm offering people fights. He's told me, come and fight. So
Joshua clarified the major difference between physical size and real boxing skill. He explained that even if Jake Paul were bigger or stronger than someone like Gervonta Davis, he still wouldn't stand a chance against him, simply because Davis possesses world-class talent, instincts, timing, and reflexes that cannot be compared to Jake's limited experience. Joshua stressed that he wasn't suggesting an actual fight between Jake and Davis, he was only illustrating how skill outweighs size when one fighter has years of elite pedigree while the other is still learning the basics. Technique beats raw size when the gap is this wide.
Gervonta would have struggled in some aspects, but I think he would have got the victory.
I think Gervonta would have got the victory.
Yes, because of his counter-punching ability. So I think he would have, you know how he done with Frank Martin, kept his tight guard, took some shots on the gloves, figured out his distance, and then...
Former heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz offered heartfelt advice to Jake Paul, drawing from his own career. Ruiz urged Jake to stay grounded, believe in himself, and avoid letting fear take over as the Anthony Joshua fight approaches. According to Ruiz, hesitation is a fighter's worst enemy because fear can destroy your performance even before a single punch lands. Ruiz reflected on his shocking 2019 victory over Joshua, a moment when almost nobody believed he could win, yet he proved the world wrong. His message wasn't that self-belief guarantees success, but that fear guarantees failure. Facing a huge, powerful, and technically sharp heavyweight like Joshua requires mental calmness, courage, and total focus. Without those qualities, Ruiz suggested, Jake won't survive the challenge.
Having faith, don't be scared, and do what you gotta do, you know? Ask God for that victory and He will come through, and just be fearless, you know? That's what you gotta do. You gotta be fearless and give it all you got, you know?
Any secret to boxing a guy like
just
like
get him
Joshua?
with the right hand. That's what Jake Paul's looking for, the right hand. And if he lands, he could do good damage. So a lot of people underestimate Jake Paul, but in reality, he's a good fighter and he's dedicated, and that's what I like about him.
You get on the phone with Jake before the fight?
I haven't, but I'm gonna hit him up. And try to give him some little pointers, huh?
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah,
hey,
bro.
look, I want to see you get back in the ring too.
We're April. I'm starting camp already next month, and in April we're getting down, baby. It should be in Los Angeles or in Vegas, but I'm gonna be training with Manny Robles. I'm gonna be in.
Legendary announcer Michael Buffer acknowledged that Jake and Logan Paul have undeniably brought a new wave of attention and young fans into boxing. He praised their ability to build hype, generate storylines, and pull massive audiences. However, Buffer drew a sharp line between entertainment and real in-ring danger. When asked about Jake fighting Anthony Joshua, Buffer became noticeably cautious. He made it clear that Joshua is not just a celebrity name, he is one of the most explosive punchers of this era. According to Buffer, Jake must significantly improve his defensive skills because Joshua's knockout power is unlike anything Jake has ever faced. Social media popularity cannot protect a fighter from a heavyweight's punch. Buffer stressed that Jake is stepping far beyond influencer-level competition and into the danger zone of a former unified heavyweight champion, a leap that carries real and possibly career-ending risks.
Well, Jake and Logan, first of all, are fantastic athletes. You know what Logan does with the WWE and what Jake does with boxing. He knocks people out and everything. And they both have massive fan bases. And for me, it's great to see people get young people that follow them that didn't have, like, you know, they don't remember Ali or Joe Frazier or whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. So it's great to see them developing fight fans and a big fight atmosphere. So it's very exciting.
These two stood face to face, and the comment section on the internet was going crazy. They were like, call the ambulance now, basically. Like, Anthony Joshua looks dangerous standing next to him.
Anthony Joshua is, at this time, and has been for years, the biggest puncher in boxing. He's a devastating puncher. So I got to give Jake a lot of credit for wanting to take this fight.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people say it's not smart. If he somehow was able to surprise the world, what does this do for him?
The word would be surprised if he shocked the world. But that's exactly why you got to give him credit. He wants to do it. He trains hard, he works hard, and he has a lot of faith in himself. So we'll see what happens.
Technically, though, what's the biggest concern for you? What's the biggest tip you can give Jake, knowing that you've watched Anthony so many times?
Commentator Ari Spears stated bluntly that if Anthony Joshua somehow lost to Jake Paul, people would immediately assume the fight was fixed. Spears emphasized that he wasn't accusing anyone of staging anything, he was simply expressing how unbelievable such an outcome would seem to the public. The difference in size, skill, and pedigree is too massive. From his perspective, Joshua losing to Jake would appear so impossible that fans would naturally question the legitimacy of the match. His comments reflect how extreme the mismatch looks to many observers.
If Anthony Joshua loses this, the fight was fixed. Because now he's fighting a real fighter.
Right. And, you know, unlike Gervonta, who was physically a lot smaller than him, Anthony Joshua was 245 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's taking this fight.
Well, I think he's tired of people saying he's not legitimate.
Well, I mean,
and the
he's
whole
been
thing
fighting non-legitimate people.
Right, so the whole critique has been, you want to be considered legitimate? Fight somebody legitimate.
Right, because even the Gervonta fight I thought was not legitimate, because the weight class was so different.
Right.
Now, Gervonta's a beast in his weight class.
But he's,
you're fighting someone way bigger.
That'd be like me fighting Gary Coleman. You know what I mean?
Boxing analyst Joey Knight argued that Jake Paul's decision to fight Anthony Joshua is driven more by business than by sports competition. According to Knight, Jake fully understands the financial power of high-profile fights, regardless of the outcome. Fighting a world-renowned heavyweight brings global attention and massive revenue, and Jake is a master at monetizing media, hype, and audience engagement. However, Knight warned that money does not erase the danger. Joshua's power, speed, experience, and technical skill make him one of the most dangerous opponents Jake could possibly choose. Knight fears Jake may be underestimating what it means to face someone who has battled world champions for years. The glamorous payday might be overshadowed by the physical and career risks Jake faces if he steps into the ring unprepared.
Cash, maybe not as much as the Anthony Joshua fight, but a lot of cash, and can still have a serious chance of going on to earn even more paydays, whereas the damage that it could do to his body could be irreversible for that opportunity to earn money in a boxing career going forward. So is this the retirement bag, or do you actually think you can win? Because I read a study recently, and I believe it said something along the lines of men overemphasize or overcalculate their ability to fight by about 500 times. And I'm saying Jake Paul would probably need to be 500 times better to stand a chance against Anthony Joshua. And I can't get how he doesn't already know this. Surely he has sparred with heavyweights. Surely the recent sparring that he had with the likes of Shakur Stevenson and with the likes of Ray Ford, amongst others, Badu Jack, surely that would have taught you that there are levels to boxing. And if these small guys are able to show you things that you had no idea that you were vulnerable to in a boxing ring, what happens when someone who hits 4, 5, 6 times as hard as that does the exact same thing to you and lands it on your chin? The whole reason of why I know where I am in the influencer boxing scene, in the misfit scene, is because of the level that I have sparred at. I've sparred boys that have gone on to box for world titles. I've sparred with English champions, and I've sparred with...
Former cruiserweight champion Johnny Nelson expressed deep concern about the potential consequences for Jake Paul. Nelson stated that Jake has become a massive financial attraction in boxing, using high payouts to secure matchups with known fighters. But he warned that a brutal knockout loss to Joshua could damage both Jake's physical health and his long-term value as a boxing draw. Nelson mentioned the rise of conspiracy theories and suggested that if Jake suffers a devastating defeat, his presence in headline events could decline sharply. For Nelson, this fight represents a crossroads. It could either elevate Jake to new heights or completely derail his momentum.
AJ, I'm stuck in between, because nobody on this green earth would actually turn down 50-60 million to fight Jake Paul. And people that don't like this will probably watch it because they want to see Jake Paul getting knocked out. So what's it say about AJ and what's it say about Jake Paul? I think I was thinking upside down. For AJ, I thought, Mama's cashing out. He's cashing out because he's going down this minute line. But I thought, in reality, is he? Realistically, he's thinking, you know what, this big mouth YouTuber stroke boxer has the cheek to call me out. I'd be pissed off at that, if I'm honest with you. I'd be upset if I was AJ, thinking, that's disrespect, man. You think you can deal with me? But he didn't. AJ was jovial and he commended Jake Paul's business acumen, saying, we've sat down, the deal's been done. But still, it just leaves an odd taste in your mouth. So as long as AJ gets the job done, and I mean gets the job done, shows his world-class pedigree, and wipes this boy out, then everybody's happy. But how does it enhance his career? The only way it enhances his career is financially. That's it. No other way. There's no props from beating Jake Paul, apart from saying, thank God you shut him up. For Jake Paul now, I got to give this boy props, because he now has our attention and the whole world is talking about Jake Paul.
I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Bet Goodwin, for supporting that boxing show. Now, if you're interested in having a little flutter, or as I call it after my dad, Benji's Bets, Bet Goodwin's the place to be. Check out Bet Goodwin using the QR code on the screen.
I'm probably all right. I'm probably 90% thinking the fight's going to happen. But I'm struggling. I'm thinking, this boy can't be so stupid. But then you hear a whisper. You hear a whisper that Jake Paul himself might be cashing out, because the big purses that he's pulling, fighting these has-beens or ex-fighters, they're dropping slowly but surely. So maybe, just maybe, this might be his last fight, getting in there with Anthony Joshua and getting knocked out. But there's always that conspiracy theory. Are there some contract agreements that can and cannot be done, which will never see the light of day, that we don't know about? Well, if you're an ex-fighter, and if you like the fight game, you'll see fake. You'll know fake when you see it. So if there's any of that fakery going on with this, pulling a shot, taking it easy, giving man a bit of a breather, especially coming from AJ, I'd be disappointed.
The host of the Wade Concept podcast analyzed the technical side of the matchup and concluded that it makes almost no competitive sense. He stated that Jake lacks the essential tools needed to face a boxer of Joshua's caliber. Jake does not yet have elite timing, defensive instincts, or the chin required to absorb heavyweight power. Meanwhile, Joshua has spent years fighting champions and top-level technicians. The analyst argued that the difference in skill, experience, and ring IQ is simply too large. This isn't just a mismatch, it's a highly dangerous scenario for Jake Paul, whose defensive lapses could be exploited brutally by a heavyweight puncher like Joshua.
Jake take this fight, and I don't think it's healthy for him at all. I think this is going to be one-way traffic. I think AJ is going to hurt him very bad. And speaking of the insanity of this thing, here is what the first line is. Jake as a plus 800. I have a feeling that's going to shift even more toward AJ at minus 1,500, because again, how could you even see Jake winning this fight? Where is the possibility for Jake to actually get it done? I mean, look at this picture from them playing paintball a couple of years ago, I guess, or I don't know if it was paintball, but some sort of airsoft like gunfighting. But look at the difference in the size. And I get it, you know, size doesn't just win fights, but AJ doesn't just have the size. He is more experienced at the highest level. He has fought guys that are smaller than him and are more experienced and better than Jake is. Again, Alexander Usyk twice. What better experience? I know Usyk is southpaw, but what better experience to get you prepared to fight a smaller guy than to fight the best, smallest guy coming up to heavyweight in Usyk that you could find? Yes, AJ is plotty and he's maybe a little stiff, and maybe his chin is not what it used to be, but that's still Anthony Joshua. So Nikisa Badarian did an interview with Sky Sports, Jake Paul's manager and co-founder of MVP. He had some things to say about the fight. Obviously, they're going to do a massive press tour around this thing. Let's take a look and listen at why Nikisa, maybe a hot take, says that Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is more winnable for Jake Paul than Gervonta Davis would.
How dangerous is this for Paul?
This is a more dangerous fight than Gervonta Tank Davis, but it's a more winnable fight than Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta was small, fast, super skilled.
That is a fucking hot take. That's I don't know if that's crazy, but it's a hot take. Let's hear his reasons.
Gervonta was small, fast, super skilled. Joshua is big, heavy puncher, but not as evasive. So I think if Jake has the right game plan, he has a pretty good shot of winning this fight.
That's crazy. Now, first off, you know, a winnable fight with Gervonta Davis, it was an exhibition. So, you know, wins and losses, we weren't really going to be able to count there. But saying that it is a risky but more winnable fight, it's so hard to get on board with even the thought of Jake winning this. Like, there's only really, I think, one, maybe two avenues where Jake possibly can in some way win it. But when Nikisa says it's a more dangerous but also more winnable, the only thing my mind jumps to is Jake is going to have to stand in front of Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua discussed Francis Ngannou's refusal to fight Jake Paul, suggesting it may not have been the smartest financial move. Joshua explained that fighters rarely receive such profitable offers, and turning one down means potentially losing a huge payday that might never return. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen agreed, saying Ngannou should have taken the fight because the financial upside was enormous. Their shared opinion highlighted the new era of boxing, where business decisions often hold as much weight as competitive matchups. In today's sport, the money can matter as much as the challenge.
Ngannou does not take the fight against Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua takes the fight against Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua at the press conference gets asked his opinion of Francis not taking the fight against Jake Paul. And Joshua's like, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. There is no reason for him to not take this match. I cannot be and am not mad at Francis. I can't be. Like rules would preclude me from being upset with Francis. I'm not a big Francis fan. Francis fan. I'm not a Francis supporter. So I want to hurt Francis. I want to do something to hurt him. Well, his own actions took $10 million out of his bank account, of which, by the way, could use $10 million. So I can't be mad at him. If I teased him and by God, get in there and he go, oh my gosh, I heard Chael and I heard from all the Eagles and what was I thinking, and Josh was out and this is my chance of redemption. Hey, put me in, Jake. That would then help him. That would be positive for Francis. That would create envy as well as jealousy from outside observers like me. But I will tell you, trying to break down and understand how we got to this conclusion is mind-boggling. You ever met a writer? Your whole life, have you ever met a writer? Maybe went to college for it, they're a writer. Do you want to know the hardest thing in the world that person's going to have to do to make money? Find some.
The fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is attracting massive attention primarily because of the extreme disparity between the fighters. While Jake is younger, energetic, and improving, those qualities simply cannot match Joshua's polished skill set, strategic experience, and world-class ring intelligence. This massive gap is what makes the matchup both shocking and fascinating. Many fans are watching simply because the imbalance is so unusual that it borders on disbelief. The fight is risky, sensational, and controversial, exactly the kind of spectacle that captures global attention.
Why the f would he do this? And the only rational idea I can think of for why he's taking this fight is the fact that, from what I could find, it seems he's getting paid around $92 million by Netflix for this fight. And I'm sure all of you that are watching have all had that conversation with your friends where you ask dumb shit like, how many millions to box Anthony Joshua? I mean, yeah, I'd gladly take brain damage for $92 million. I'd do it for like 20K. And I don't think Netflix are going to be happy with replacing Gervonta Davis with a Nate Diaz rematch, as much as Nate Diaz may love that.
Who do you want to fight next?
Maggots.
Who do I want to fight next? I want to beat the fuck out of Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, either one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you may think Nate Diaz is being delusional here, but, I mean, I'd take brain damage twice in one night for that kind of money. And as crazy as it seems that Jake Paul's...
That concludes today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates and analysis in the next episode.